Elon Musk was no stranger to controversy. As one of the most influential and outspoken figures in the world, his name alone sparked debates wherever it was mentioned. Whether people saw him as a visionary genius or a reckless disruptor, there was no denying that he commanded attention. But on this particular day, Musk wasn't looking for headlines. He was just trying to board a flight. The private jet terminal at LAX was bustling with quiet efficiency. It was supposed to be a routine trip, one of many for the billionaire entrepreneur. Dressed casually in a black t-shirt and jeans, Musk strolled into the terminal, a small team of assistants trailing behind him, busy checking schedules and confirming last-minute details. The atmosphere was calm, professional, until they reached the boarding gate. Standing at the counter was a young flight attendant, her sharp eyes scanning each passenger. She had been working for the airline for only a few months, but she had already developed a reputation for being outspoken about her beliefs. A self-proclaimed activist, she saw her job as more than just serving passengers. It was an opportunity to make a statement, and today she saw an opportunity she couldn't pass up. As Musk approached, she stiffened. She had heard all the stories, the tweets, the political takes, the business moves that had shaken entire industries. In her eyes, he was everything wrong with the world, a billionaire with too much power and too little accountability. When Musk handed over his boarding pass, she barely glanced at it before looking up at him with a tight-lipped expression. "I'm sorry, sir," she said, her tone crisp. "You're not allowed to board this flight." A moment of silence followed. His assistants exchanged confused glances, unsure if they had misheard. Musk, ever the observer, simply raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. The flight attendant squared her shoulders, emboldened by the moment. "This airline does not support individuals who spread misinformation, enable corporate greed, and silence workers. I have the right to refuse service, and I'm exercising that right." The tension in the terminal thickened. Nearby passengers and airline staff began to take notice, whispers rippling. For a few seconds, the air in the terminal stood still. The only sound was the faint crackle of a nearby intercom announcing another flight's departure. Elon Musk blinked, processing what had just been said to him. His assistants exchanged glances, unsure of whether to step in or let their boss handle it. Then he let out a small, amused chuckle. It wasn't the first time someone had tried to make a statement at his expense, and it certainly wouldn't be the last. But there was something uniquely absurd about being denied boarding. Not because of a security issue, not because of an overbooked flight, but because of a personal vendetta. "You're refusing to let me board because of your opinion on me?" Musk asked, tilting his head slightly, studying the young woman in front of him. His tone wasn't angry or defensive, just genuinely curious. "That's right," the flight attendant said, standing her ground. "I have the right to refuse service, and I'm using it." A small crowd had begun to form nearby. Passengers waiting for their flights, employees from other counters, even a few security guards who sensed tension brewing. Some people pulled out their phones, discreetly recording the exchange. One of Musk's assistants, a middle-aged man in a sharp suit, stepped forward. "This is ridiculous," he said, lowering his voice, but making his frustration clear. "Mr. Musk has a valid ticket. He has every right to board this plane." The flight attendant folded her arms. "And I have the right to say no. You think people like him should get a free pass just because they're rich?" Musk exhaled through his nose, shaking his head slightly. "Look, I'm all for freedom of speech," he said, his voice still calm. "But this isn't a protest rally. It's a flight. You work for an airline, not an activist group." His words didn't shake her. In fact, she seemed to take them as a challenge. "You can buy Twitter, you can control Tesla and SpaceX, but you don't control me," she shot back. "I won't let someone like you just waltz onto a plane like nothing's wrong with the world." The tension had fully escalated now. A few passengers muttered to themselves, some nodding in agreement with her, others shaking their heads at the spectacle. The security guards moved a little closer, unsure if they needed to intervene. A voice cut through the noise, the airline manager. A tall, middle-aged woman with a no-nonsense expression hurried over, her blazer swaying as she moved. She had clearly been briefed on the situation. "What's going on here?" she demanded, looking between the flight attendant and Elon Musk. The flight attendant's voice was unwavering. "I'm refusing him service. I won't let him board." The manager's face twitched, somewhere between disbelief and irritation. She turned to Musk. "Mr. Musk, I deeply apologize for this. There seems to be a misunderstanding." But the flight attendant cut her off. "No, there's no misunderstanding. I know exactly what I'm doing." Musk, for his part, remained composed, hands in his pockets. "It's not about me," he said simply. "It's about whether you think your personal opinions should dictate who gets to travel and who doesn't." The manager's patience had worn thin. She turned to the flight attendant, her voice steely. "You don't have the authority to make this call." "I have the right to refuse service," the flight attendant insisted. "Not in this case, you don't," the manager snapped. "Step aside, now." For the first time, a flicker of uncertainty crossed the flight attendant's face, but she didn't move. The manager exhaled sharply. "Come with me." With that, she gestured for the security guards, and they stepped forward. The flight attendant hesitated, then turned on her heel and stormed off, her face flushed with frustration. Musk watched her go, then turned back to the manager, who looked deeply embarrassed. "Again, Mr. Musk, I am so sorry. Please follow me. We'll make sure you're boarded right away." Musk nodded, but didn't say anything for a moment. He glanced around at the small crowd that had gathered, some of whom were still recording. He knew the videos would be online within minutes, and the internet would have a field day with them. Then, finally, he smirked and said, "Well, that was unexpected." A ripple of laughter spread through the terminal as Musk followed the manager toward the gate. But as he walked, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something bigger. By the time Elon Musk was seated comfortably in first class, the incident had already gone viral. As expected, multiple angles of the confrontation had been uploaded to social media, with captions ranging from "Flight attendant takes a stand against billionaire" to "Elon Musk denied service. What happens next is unbelievable." Some people cheered for the flight attendant, calling her brave. Others criticized her, arguing that personal bias had no place in customer service. But one thing was clear: the internet was watching. As the plane began taxiing down the runway, Musk leaned back in his seat and glanced at his phone. His inbox was flooded. Emails, texts, social media tags. He wasn't surprised. Controversy had followed him for years, but this one was different. This wasn't about a tweet or a business decision. This was about something bigger, whether personal beliefs should dictate how people are treated in public spaces. Halfway through the flight, a flight attendant, one who hadn't just been escorted out of the airport, approached him hesitantly. "Mr. Musk, I just wanted to personally apologize for what happened earlier," she said, wringing her hands. "That's not how we do things here." Musk nodded, appreciating the gesture. "I get it," he said. "Everyone's entitled to their opinion, just not when it comes to whether someone gets on a flight or not." She smiled weakly. "Exactly." Then, lowering her voice, she added, "Between you and me, she was warned before about making political statements at work. I guess she thought today was the day to push it." Musk raised an eyebrow. "Guess she found out where the line was." The flight attendant chuckled nervously before excusing herself. Back on the ground, things were unfolding rapidly. The airline had issued a statement by the time the plane landed, making it clear that the former flight attendant's actions were not condoned. It was a carefully worded statement, something about ensuring all customers are treated with fairness and professionalism. But the real bombshell came hours later. A breaking news alert flashed across Musk's phone. Flight attendant who denied Elon Musk service, fired within hours. Musk exhaled sharply, rubbing his chin as he read through the details. The airline had let her go, citing violation of company policies and breach of professional conduct. Some media outlets framed it as justice served, while others painted her as a martyr who stood up to corporate power. As expected, she quickly became a symbol for online activists. A crowdfunding campaign was started in her name, and a handful of media personalities rushed to her defense. But Musk? He didn't comment. Instead, when asked about it in a press conference the next day, he simply smiled and said, "I just wanted to board my flight. The rest wasn't up to me." And with that, he walked off stage, leaving the media scrambling for more. Because at the end of the day, it wasn't just about him. It was about what this moment represented. A lesson about professionalism, responsibility, and the consequences of letting personal bias dictate actions. And no matter where people stood on the issue, one thing was certain. This wasn't a story they'd forget anytime soon. This wasn't just about Elon Musk or a single flight. It was about something much bigger. It's a reminder that personal beliefs should never get in the way of professionalism, respect, and fairness. No matter who you are, where you stand, or what you believe, treating people with basic decency should never be up for debate. What do you think? Did the airline make the right decision? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another incredible moment like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.